Greetings and konnichiwa, and welcome back to the Onyx Tavern Vlog series on Russia Sentai ToQger. I'm your host, Rick the Barkeep, and today we're going to talk about Station 40, Who is He? He is Whom? Which sounds like a Dr. Seuss book, if I've ever heard one, but apparently that's the accurate translation. Nevertheless, we pick up this episode where we left off, where Akira is going to fight the ToQger, and he doesn't even bother explaining his motivations or reasons why. Which the entire teaser, which goes on for about 3 minutes of this battle, and ToQger asking, "Hey, what's going on? Why are you doing this and all this stuff?" Akira just kind of like dances around the questions, like I'm not going to have to answer or justify myself because, well, if he did that, then we wouldn't have this fight sequence between him and the other ToQger. Again, it was asinine in the previous episode. It's asinine here. Why doesn't he just say something? Why doesn't he just explain himself? Oh, that's right. We wouldn't get a cool action sequence in an action series. I'm sorry, but you know what? You have to be based on story first and action second. I don't care what show you are, because if you don't have a good story, then all you are is just a sequence of explosions. Look to any Michael Bay movie ever. There we are. Okay, so we continue on from there. What actually happens in this episode besides this battle? This is where Schwartz goes ahead and attacks the castle terminal in order to go ahead and get to Zet. And, I said in the previous vlog that Schwartz doesn't really need to go ahead and do anything. He just needs to keep going because the ToQger can't follow him unless they think of using the drill rush shot to do that, which they attempt to do, towards the middle of the episode and so forth. But it really made me go, what the hell are you doing when Akira transforms back into his Zalam form and Schwartz comes in to taunt the ToQger and then take Akira with him on the train? I'm like, why did you come back? Why did you feel it necessary to come back and do this? I mean, just keep going, for crying out loud. And then I thought, the reason I found out is when he actually does storm the castle, it turns out it's just him and Akira. He doesn't have any other soldiers. Obviously, he doesn't have crows or anything, but he didn't persuade a couple of monsters to join him. He didn't resurrect any monsters to join him. He didn't do anything. It's just the two of them in one train trying to take over the terminal where we have the Emperor, we have Nero, we have Mam Noir, we have a prison full of monsters down in the basement apparently, and an army full of crows. And you think it's just going to be the two of you is all that's necessary? Okay, again, Schwartz is a great villain. I like him. He's my second favorite villain character ahead of Zet. But again, even Zet's kind of pissing me off sometimes. But that was your whole plan? Just the two of you? I mean, I don't know, man. That's for a tactical genius or a general in an army. I mean, when you're given the name general, I'd like to think that you're a pretty smart kind of guy. But Schwartz, man, you really lost it here. Okay, so they assault the castle terminal, and what it turns out is there seems to be, I guess the best way you would describe is a symbiotic relationship between Zet and Glitter, where, okay, so she's inside of him, but you can change form and the person can take over. Basically, it's like having it's basically two personalities in one body. So when Zet's in control, he's himself in his emperor form, and then when Glitter's control, switch out and physically becomes Glitter with her personality and everything. So they're basically sharing the same body here. Which is not something that I saw coming, really, because I knew she was kind of inside, maybe influencing him and saying stuff, but the fact that she's physically manifesting and that the two people are now one, that's kind of an interesting concept. I'm really curious on where they go from here. But when they attack, of course, Zet uses this to his advantage because Schwartz doesn't want to hurt Glitter at all because he's in love with her, fond with her, whatever the case may be exactly. So he uses it, it's like, you ain't going to hit me because Glitter's still inside me. How can you go ahead and defeat me? And so in the battle, what's also kind of interesting is that Zet kidnaps Akira and takes him on the train, and we got this chase in the trains and so forth. And he expels Akira from the train, and they're going to bring Akira back to the Rainbow Line, only to find out it was Zet in disguise the entire time. Which, hey, that was a good twist, guys. I did not see that one coming because he wants to be on the rainbow line for protection. Protection from what I'm not 100% sure about because okay, here's the thing. Yes, basically everybody wants to kill Zet. Manwar wants to kill him so he can get she get Glitter back. Baron Nero is pretty much loyal to him at this point. Schwartz wants to kill him because he wants to take over, and of course Mork, she wants to go ahead and protect them as well. Nevertheless, basically what's happening is that everybody wants to kill Zet, and he feels the only safe place to be is on the Rainbow Line. Because even though the ToQger wanted to defeat him, I can tell that Wright at some point, and he may have said contrary, but I still get this feeling that Wright feels that he is not beyond redemption, not beyond saving. Um, Plus, I think he knows that ToQger's nature would be to protect him, and knowing the Glitter's in there, they would protect Glitter because, of course, Mio has a connection to Glitter being in her body once. So there is a precedent to that in the situation. But it also seems like Glitter wants to keep Zet and Schwartz apart because they would mutually destroy each other. Either Zet would destroy, Schwartz, and then of course Glitter would be sad, or Schwartz would defeat Zet, and of course then Glitter would be dead. I mean, that's the only outcome between the battle between these two guys. So maybe she's there because she knows that ToQger will protect her more than they would go ahead and protect Zet. It's not particularly clear, and when we try to get an answer at the end of the episode, well, again, we don't get an answer, and we're supposed to wait till the next episode to find out what happens there. A little bit of intrigue going on with the villains, particularly what's going on with Akira, because it seems that what the episode is implying that Akira, even though he's only doing this out of an obligation, a sense of honor and duty to Schwartz, and Schwartz, I really kind of like how he does count him as his friend, and it's really got that whole feel of, two friends have been through a lot, and now they realize both of them have changed, whether for the better, it's still kind of up in the air. But Akira's actually excited to go on this offensive against Zet and against the Castle Terminal. That he's really, his heart is pounding, his heart is racing. He's like, I'm excited to actually go ahead and do this. So the implication there is that maybe at heart he is still dark. He is still evil. I mean, again, he's not human. He only appears to be human, but we know he's got a good heart. He's like one of those villains, with a heart of gold and so forth. But there is still part of his nature where he does want to do this stuff. He wants to cause havoc and destruction and chaos and things like that, and taking over the Emperor just seems to be part of that. But we also see in the episode that he does his good side where he finds the cat and he's like, oh, you're so cute and stuff like that, because cats are his weakness and stuff. And Schwartz notices this, and I don't know if it makes him doubt Akira or really second guess him or anything, but I think he comes to a realization that they do both change or have changed, and there is a good kind of connection there between Schwartz and Akira and the little conversation that they have. As far as the ToQger go in this episode, it's pretty much the same thing from them. Oh my goodness, what happened to Akira? Then they do more flashbacks, so he doesn't understand what friends means, which is, I'm going to call BS on that because I think the episode and the series in general kind of paints that he understands friendship, just not friendship in the way the ToQgers give it. And of course, there's all this kind of melodrama, which really leads nowhere. I mean, honestly, everything that's going on with the ToQger is rather boring, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that they don't change as characters, and this is a very plot-heavy episode of this happens, and this happens, and this happens, and this happens, and we're not getting much characterization out of them. Again, we're getting it out of Akira, which... Again, I like that because Akira's my second favorite ToQger because of his character and his development, but it is coming at the sacrifice of what's going on with the ToQger. Maybe that's going to go ahead and change based on the ending of this episode. Because, okay, here's a fun thing. So the cliffhanger ending for this episode is that the Shadow Terminal rises out of the ground and manifests it in our world, the world of light, as you will. And coming with it is the tree clubhouse that the ToQger had when they were children, which I will remind you is only like a few months earlier to the start of the series. And it seems to be that the implication is that the Castle Terminal is their hometown. I guess that's what's happening. I'm not quite sure. I mean, again, it's a cliffhanger ending, so maybe this is a result of where they wrote something in and by the next episode they changed it or whatever. But if we go by the implication that's given by the ToQger that the Shadow Line Terminal is their hometown, then that raises so many questions. I don't know where to begin. So I'm not going to go ahead and speculate on it in this episode. Apparently, this is part two of a three-part, interconnection of stories, or at least that's what I've been told. And maybe we'll get resolution in the next episode and maybe clarification on what happens. Because I really don't know what's happened. I had to go back and watch the episode twice because a lot of the dialogue was a little confusing. A lot of it was this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, and a lot of actions happen. There's no real consequence yet, but again, we'll probably see those consequences when we get to the next episode or even a couple of episodes down the line. Nevertheless, this episode was a little bit better than the last one because, again, things happened, and there was a good twist in there. What happened with Zet? I don't know if the tree from their hometown is considered a twist. We'll find out in the next episode how that's going to go ahead and pay off. But again, it's decent. It's nothing as offensive as the last one, but I am really curious on what happens next. And I can't think of anything else to really say about this episode, so I'll go ahead and leave it at that. I want to know what you guys think. Did you like this episode? Was it any better? Any worse? Comment below. Let me know. I think I'm stealing someone else's catchphrase. Anyway, we will come back with Station 41, the Christmas battle, and see where we go from there. Otherwise, I want to thank you guys for listening. Have a good evening, and the tavern is now closed.